Have you ever had a conversation with a group of people, whether it was like a discussion or just a normal conversation topic, and you asked a question and they all got quiet? From there, you most likely thought that maybe they didn't understand what I'm saying. So I need to explain even deeper, right? But more oftentimes than not, they just don't understand, or they're just thinking about what you're trying to say. Or they're trying to figure out what the problem is in general. It doesn't mean you always need to think. For me personally, I remember a couple of times where I was speaking to a crowd. This is before I learned the 3-second rule, right? But there's a couple of times when I was speaking to a crowd and I said something, people just sat there blankly with a blank face and just looked at me like this. And then from there, I said, "Everything good? Are you all right?" They said yes, but they still didn't answer the question. So from there, what I did next, I over-explained. I started to dive more deeper instead of giving them a little bit longer to kind of digest information. Something I learned is something called the 3-second rule, where you ask, it's something that teachers do, and I learned this from this thing called Teach the Teacher, where you say something or you give a class or a discussion, you ask a question, and you wait 3 to 5 seconds before saying anything else. Because people have to digest the information you say. And people being quiet doesn't always necessarily mean that they don't understand. It just means they're processing what you're saying. So next time, give it a couple of minutes before you say anything else. Stop guessing what people need and just simply ask the question of what they actually need. To prevent that, right, there's a couple of times for me whenever I was growing up in the military and I was trying to understand what to actually, or how to actually articulate my needs and how to get things across. And I usually just kind of keep talking and yapping, right, about my same point over and over again until I realized, or I was taught by watching other people and observing, that you need to actually ask the questions to others. How can they provide to me what I need? Or what can they do in order to help the mission go through faster, right? So, number 2 is to make sure that you say what you need to say or clarify what you need and then stop there. Speak to others who need to actually participate in the whole clarification of whatever need to be talked about, right? Because more often times than not, it's just you going to be talking or somebody else and no answer really gets done because no one takes the initiative, maybe because they don't know, or maybe because they just focus on themselves. But there has to be somebody who has to take a step out from everyone else and ask a question in regards to how we want to come together and collectively solve this problem or this mission. Essentially, that could be you. All you need to do is ask the question and clarify how can I actually assist with the overall scheme of maneuver or whatever you're trying to do. And lastly, your answer is done if it gives people what they need in order for them to act. Now, if you do want to add more, ask yourself this question: will this change the decision in the whole scheme of things in general? If it does, sure, add it. If it doesn't, don't add it, because you're just simply wasting time. What sense does it make to give people extra information and make them overthink and do things differently than what they can do, which is focus on the task at hand? Give them what they need to know and then let them go do it. And luckily, well, not luckily, but they should figure out how to do it. You'll need to go into detail. Sometimes you just need them to actually show you what they can do with the information you give them, right? You can go in detail if you want to, but just remember that people have a mind of their own, and you're not the main character. Well, you are your own life, but in other people's lives, let them make decisions and learn from their mistakes, right? Because that's how they create critical thinking skills. If you do all the thinking for them, then they won't learn or won't know how to do things. But if you give them the direction, give them clear guidance in what you need to do, send them out to go do it. They may fuck up, they may not. By the way, they live and they learn. And they can do the same for the next person down the line. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. I make videos for introverted people like me and you who want to take their work and their judgment seriously.